The State Capture Commission that's taking place in Parktown, just north of Johannesburg, and watching events for us there this week has been senior reporter Mzwandile Mbeje. Let's go to him now and get a reflection on what's happened today. Mzwai, thanks so much for joining us. Every single day this week when we've crossed to you, something dramatic has happened, but I don't think that most of us could have predicted such a dramatic end to proceedings today.
Well, Peter, of course, someone who would be able to help us, someone who was privy to some of the discussions that took place is the lawyer for the former president, Mantsha, who is here just to speak to us, to really tell us what is it that they are feeling. So what is it that they are objecting to as the commission continues to cross-examine the former president. Mr. Mantsha, welcome.
Okay. No, thank you very much. I think it would be important to give a background to your question. The background is we have been receiving notices from the Commission in terms of the Commission Rule 3.3. In those notices, we were being informed that the former president is being implicated on a number of issues. And each time we receive those notices, we, of course, as legal advisors to the former president, applied our minds, consulted with him to actually consider those allegations, whether those allegations constitute a violation of a constitution, any criminal code, or amount to any improper conduct of some sort. And in all those notices, we then came to the conclusion that none of those so-called allegations amount to any violation of the Constitution or a criminal conduct or an improper conduct for that matter. And we, of course, in terms of the rules of the Commission, elected not even to give those so-called allegations a dignity by responding, because the President always refused to get involved in what appears to be gossip as contained in those various statements, because the statements that we're talking about is mainly from people who were at a particular point, whether they were removed from cabinet or whether they were removed in certain state organs, whatever the case, and primarily they've got a grudge against the president. So in each of those, we informed the Commission our position. So to come to where we are now, the Commission then invited the former president. And they indicated it's a matter of courtesy. And then the president must come and give his side of the story. And he's their guest to clarify certain issues. The opening address of the head of the legal team of the Commission on Monday, he specifically stated that the former president is invited, and in terms of the rules of the Commission, he is not going to be cross-examined because he's a Commission's witness. That was the same view of the chairperson of the Commission. And more so, the head of the legal team of the Commission went further to say, the rules of the Commission do not allow a cross-examination except by the leave of the chairperson. And that leave is granted upon an application which gets considered by the chairperson of the Commission, and then he makes a decision. So this is when the president made a decision to come here, of course, he did so in respect of the citizens of this country, who at a particular time in history elected him as their president. So because of his deep respect for the citizens of this country, irrespective of all the concerns that we've raised through correspondences with the Commission, the concerns about the biasness of the Commission, the impartiality of the Commission towards him, because as you know, we have received a lot of statements where when you look at it, the Commission says the president is implicated, but when you look, The president is not even implicated on anything. And when those people come to testify, they don't even implicate the president. So there are a number of concerns we have raised. I don't want to go to each and every one of those. But clearly, when the right time comes, we will set all of them. The commission has our complaints in writing, so they know what the complaints are all about. So despite the undertaking they've made on Monday, that they are not going to cross-examine the president, they eventually, as you saw if you were sitting in the in the commission, they then started to cross-examine the president, which means they have been trying through false pretense to say to the president, we need clarity, but yet they wanted to cross-examine him. The president then raised his consent that the exercise of taking him through the details, it's only meant to assess his credibility vis-a-vis the credibility of a person who made the statement. You only do that exercise when you're cross-examining someone. You don't lead a witness to establish credibility of a witness. So, on the view of that, the legal team of the former president, we then requested the commission to adjourn so that we can consult with the former president. And upon the consultation with the former president, dealing with the concerns he has raised in an open commission, we then decided to approach the chairperson of the commission to actually inform him that these concerns are so grave that the president is not prepared to be abused by people who have called him as their witness, and in turn, then they cross-examine him. So he was not prepared to participate in that process, which was just a farce, contrary to what we have been told by the commission. So where we are now, the commission has been adjourned until Friday. So tomorrow, we will continue to engage the commission and give them the parameters upon which this engagement can take place. And I can tell you, we are of course not prepared to participate in a process, as the president has said in his opening address, which was meant to bury him. He has raised his consent as he was explaining the background of the conspiracy against him, which in his own words has led us to this commission. So he's obviously not going to participate in a commission which is meant to be his a grave. The president is prepared, and the president will continue to participate in a commission which is impartial, which is fair, which is not biased, which is not targeting him as an accused person. That commission the president will participate in, but he's not going to participate in a commission which is indirectly used to persecute him, to portray him as a criminal, to portray him as an accused. Is certainly not interested.
In the event discussions tomorrow fail to reach common ground, what will be your next step?
Well, the next step is very simple. The commission must play according to its own rules. If the commission wants to cross-examine the president, the former president, the commission must therefore bring an application before the chairperson of the commission to say we are asking to cross-examine the former president. And certainly we will oppose that application. The chairperson will have to make a decision, and then we will take it from there. But the president is not going to continue to participate in a cross-examination. He won't.
They are basically saying, Mr. Mantsha, this is clarity-seeking session, and those issues they are raising are the issues that those individuals have spoken about, particularly as you were hearing there, Barbara Hogan, and of course there are still others that are still going to come. So it's statements they are saying, it's issues they are saying happened because of him, because of his interference.
if I try to summarize the explanation which the chairperson gave to the former president when the former president was raising his concern, the chairperson indicated that in the end of the day, he would have to consider all the factors. And the president then responded to say, look, you are asking me all these smaller details, and in the end of the day, you're going to say, no, I didn't remember this, I didn't know this, and therefore, my credibility as a witness was bad. So, it is not correct to say that the commission is seeking clarity. If the commission is seeking clarity, they must put a version to say, President, did you interfere in the appointment of so and so? And those questions were put, and the answer was no. So, if you are seeking clarity, the answer is no. So, what more should he say? He indicated to the chairperson to say, what more do you want me to say? Because no, I don't receive, the president does not receive memos. The memos, as he said, if they're cabinet memos, there are people in the presidency who deal with all those kind of things. So when you're asking him about memo, did you reply back to this person? Certainly, you are demeaning the presidency. You are demeaning the head of state, the former head of state. He was not a clerk. He was not a manager. He was not a chair of a state-owned company. He was not a minister. He was a head of state.
Okay. So, in short, am I correct to say you are prepared to cooperate with the commission despite your own views about it?
Well, the president, the former president, owes to the citizens of this country who have elected him a president at a given moment. The president will continue to respect the citizen. He's in this commission because he respects the citizen. He's not in this commission because he believes that this commission is impartial, it's fair. And for the sake of the citizens of this country who have given him the highest honor of being a president, he will continue to respect them. And he will continue to participate in a commission, as I said, which is impartial, which is fair, which is not biased, which is not treating him as an accused person. He will continue to do so. But it's up to the chairperson of the commission to create that environment where fairness is seen, where the perception of bias cannot arise. So it's not up to the president, former president, it's up to the chairperson of the commission.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mantsha.
Thank you.
There was Mr. Mantsha there basically indicating to us that they will continue to cooperate with the Commission despite issues that they are having, Peter, with regards to what is happening. You know that tomorrow is going to be very crucial. There is that meeting between the legal team of the Commission and the legal team of the former president to really discuss the way forward, because it looks like at this stage there is a stalemate. When the proceedings resumed after lunch, Peter, the former president basically said he was very uncomfortable at the manner in which the questions were being put to him. So the feeling was that they felt this was a pretense to get him here to get cross-examined without him being prepared. So the discussions tomorrow will really give us an indication of what will happen. Of course, this commission will resume on Friday, Peter.
Mzwandile Mbeje, that's where we'll leave it for the time being. Thanks very much indeed for that update, and also getting that very important guest in conversation, legal representative of the former president, speaking about the concerns that they have, that the president has. All right, so well, for more on this, let's now